before we got to that. In the main Super Brew, Craig the expat Cass fan stays top of the table. Elliot Wrench wears the yellow cap this week, so nice little bonus week for Elliot with the wire winning and then him wearing the yellow cap. In the Fantasy League, this is the kind of thing that we need a clickbaity kind of like shock upset headline for, but Alan Bagley has been knocked off the top spot.
What?
Yes, Mark Moore moves up to top, so well done to Mark. And Tom McLennan had the best weekly score this week with an awesome 818 points.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks everyone for getting the fan reviews in on the Google Forms. Please, if you are a listener who supports Salford or Lee, then get some views in on your team's games over the next few weeks. Well, Salford are on TV next week, which will help. And also, do remember, guys, that we're a bit in the dark on half the games. Now we're back to a world where they're not all on Sky. So you'll be the people watching the games. You need to tell us what's happened so we can give them fair justice. So do get your fan views in on the games. And I think my favourite this week probably goes to Lee Whitnall for the expecting a Gaelic analing, which is slightly too far over the line for us to use as an episode title, but
try again next week.
Yeah. Right, okay, we're going to now look at the other results.
So we move on to other results, and it was round 3 of the championship this week, which saw London 38, Oldham 24, and we got a match review in on that.
Yeah, Dr. Hideous said both teams started quickly, with Broncos getting a little deeper into Oldham's half on their sets. Broncos were a little better in every part of the game, and the scoreline fairly reflects that, but Oldham can be pleased with their performance. I think a big thing for London was having some halfbacks, some experienced halfbacks back for their sides. That was good for them. Samet being a big part of that.
Yeah, and then it was Batley 48, Widnes 16, Swinton 16, York 64, Featherstone 48, Whitehaven 14, Halifax 34, Toulouse 44.
We got a fan view in on that one. Brian Davies said Toulouse were cruising this game after a decent opening from Fax. 34-0 up after half an hour, then we took our foot off the gas. 3 men in the bin, 2 for us, gave Fax the space to score a few tries, but we were never going to lose. Stop-start season for Toulouse isn't helping, but we look like we're going to have too much class for most of this division in 2021. Yeah, although Halifax did score a couple of really nice tries that are worth watching.
And then Newcastle 24, Sheffield 16. Another good win for them.
That's an upset, isn't it, that really? Because Sheffield were going great guns.
Yeah.
It's kind of giving a bit of an anyone can beat anyone vibe to that competition, because Sheffield absolutely twatted Bradford, who you're going to get onto next.
Yeah. And then it was Bradford 35, Dewsbury 14. So, like you say, huge variety in results.
Good win for Dewsbury over Dewsbury there, actually, when it comes down to it. Standings, Sarah. Featherstone and Toulouse retain their 100% records after 3 rounds, but sadly they won't face off next week, with part-time teams not being required to travel to France under the current COVID regulations. It's a real shame that we're kind of... Basically, we had to scratch around for a game of the week because the game of the week isn't taking place.
Yeah.
4 teams have a 66%. 2/3 win rate. Batley, Sheffield, Dewsbury and Bradford. Newcastle and London come next on 50%, which is weird because London shouldn't be 50%, but that the way they've counted up in the table, that no-show in Toulouse, it is actually benefiting the Broncos at the moment. They should be on 33%. 4 sides that are on 33% with 1 win from 3 are York, Halifax, Whitehaven and Oldham. Widnes are on 16.6%. Thanks to their draw with Newcastle in round 1. Swinton are the sole remaining side yet to get off the mark in the championship.
Yep, and then it was the round 1 of the Women's Challenge Cup. And it finished Warrington 38, Huddersfield 12. I think you can watch the highlight. Oh, well, no, you can't watch the highlights tonight because tonight will be tomorrow when people are listening.
Yes, but you can get the
Tonight
highlights on Sky, or I think the R League app will be running a full match replay at some point this week as well of this one. Dr. Hideous got in touch. He said the first 15 minutes were almost error-free with good defence from both sides. Warrington were slightly stronger in attack and deserved their opening score, but then Huddersfield started making mistakes and gifted Warrington tries. 22-6 at half-time. Giants opened the scoring second half back to their opening quality and stuck at it until the last 5 minutes when they just turned off again and Warrington got more easy points. And Mark W said, not a bad effort for our first run out in 18 months. Regan Walker had the physicality of a young Paul Anderson and the goal kicking skills of a young Paul Anderson. Amelia Brown looked really dangerous with the ball in hand and Captain Oates was everywhere. In the end, Wire were a bit more clinical and errors cost us, but 2 late tries meant the scoreline maybe didn't reflect what an arm wrestle the second half really was. Yes, but Warrington's poor goal kicking meant it didn't reflect quite how one-sided the first half probably was. I suppose swings and roundabouts on this one. For Warrington, Sutherland, Georgia Sutherland, who Dr. Hideous Dave actually pulled out as a good performer for them in defeat last week, was another good performer in this game. She got 2 tries. I was really impressed by Amy Daniels in the centres for Warrington. She looks a really powerful option there. She'll be looking at England's contention, I think, with her performance. And Danny Bound, the captain for Warrington, she was clearly the sort of smartest player on the pitch, I would say, throughout this game. But that girl that Mark pulled out, Amelia Brown, apparently she used to be a sprinter or something they were talking about in the commentary, and you could tell once she got into clean space, her running was really impressive.
Yeah.
So we'll see if she can get an odd breakaway try or get on the outside of her opposite number from her own half. We should see some fireworks. So good luck to that.
In the Women's Challenge Cup, it was also York 16, Wakefield 10. And then moving to the NRL, where it was round 7, it finished the Panthers 24, the Knights 6. The Titans 30, the Rabbiters 40, with Burgess making 157 metres there.
Yeah, and David Hunter got in touch and said the Titans are aware how long a game goes for, right? After dominating the first half, those Rabbits finally clicked and hopped away with it. Both coaches must be concerned with defences. Yeah, let's just celebrate attack.
It did seem a very unusual NRL score, actually.
Yeah.
That's normally the score when we play Wakefield, one way or the other.
Oh, Catalan Salford.
Yeah. And another big score here, the Eels 46, the Broncos 6, and Herbie Farmworth with 113 metres.
And David Hunter got in touch again on this one. He said the temperature was 30 plus, but it was the Eels that were hotter. It was an unfortunate performance for Herbie, the dud bug, as the Eels' left hand made him, Croft and Coates look silly. I was also super impressed with Kafusi, and the Eels forwards really dominated a pack with Lodge, Haas and Pangai. Put simply, the Eels were electrifying. Next week, a loss to the Bulldogs will be coming, knowing this team, but I hope not.
And then the Sharks 12, the Bulldogs 18, and Thompson with 164 metres. The Cowboys narrowly beat Raiders 26-24. And in this, Williams with 1 try, Whitehead with 1 try assist, and Ryan Sutton with 108 metres and 41 tackles.
And you know what? I'm not gonna backtrack sufficiently to say I agree with the suggestion from Alan Walker last week, that the Raiders need a complete rip it up and start again approach. But there's something awry there, and I would say for all the quality and talent they've got, in particular in Williams and White and in the halves, I think we have to say not scoring any points for a third second half in a row and letting the Cowboys come back on them, the Raiders aren't a title contender at this moment in time, I don't think, sadly.
No.
But Sutton's going well still.
Yep. So hang on a minute. So then it was the West Tigers 6, the Sea Eagles 40. Another big score. The Roosters 34, the Dragons 10, Storm 42, and the Warriors 20.
Yeah, and another game where both teams scored over 20. That's the rarity, isn't it? We've seen a few blowouts in the NRL this year, which has been a bit strange. The other thing we saw this week, actually, there was a first in the NRL. We saw the first ever 18th man get used. So that was in the Bulldogs Sharks game, but we also saw one in the Storm Warriors game as well. So the new rule there with the 18th man, if you lose a couple of players to head knocks and one of the players is head knocked due to foul play, there was definitely some foul play that caused head knocks in these games. So yeah, that's it's interesting to see that coming into place, and where they lead we often follow, and that seems like an area where I expect the game will go that way in all sorts of sports for head injuries. So
yeah, no, I think it is a good rule. Yeah, I mean it'll be called into question, won't it, when somebody claims that when a referee misses maybe a high shot that causes it, and therefore they don't get to benefit from it and things like that. But I do think on the whole it's a positive step.
And making sure that it needs that element of foul play in one of the people who's not able to return kind of removes the ability to pull a Harlequin's Bloodgate scandal type situation as well. So I think they've got the balance of it okay right now, and we'll see how it goes. In terms of the standing, the still perfect Panthers stay top, 7 wins from 7. The informed Eels and Rabbitohs are next with 6 wins from 7. Storm and the Roosters both have 10 points in 4th and 5th, and the Dragons in 6th are on 8 points. The Titans lead a group of 3-win sides that also includes the Raiders, the Warriors, the Knights, the Sea Eagles and the Cowboys. The Sharks are 13th with West Tigers, Broncos and Bulldogs in the bottom 3, all with 1 win each, because of course the Luke Thompson inspired Bulldogs got their first win of the season this week. We did get a fan review in about another game, Sarah.
We did. So Lee Whitnell got in touch to give us a match report on Newton Storm under 10s against the Halton Farnworth Hornets under 10s. And Lee said after more than 13 months of no games, the North West Counties under 10s league commenced under blue skies in God's own Newton the Willers. In his first game at fullback, Samuel Bennett, son of former Saints back rower Mike, scored a brilliant hat-trick. Hooker, Max Riley and loose forward Kenzie Canning also scored with 3 of 5 conversions nailed 2 in a hard-fought 26-18 victory to the Storm. It's great to be back.
He put it in brackets, but all I could think is the in-betweeners friend thing whenever he talks about Mike Bennett. But yeah, great to see the kids at Newton and Halton Hornets get their seasons underway, and there was a pre-season game played over on your side of the Pennines as well that you wanted to tell us a little bit about.
There was. Myton travelled out to the far east and beyond of the city to Keenham to play against the Holderness Vikings, and they went down in the end 20 points to 6, but they played really well. They were couple of players down to start with, and then Corey went off with quite a nasty painful ankle. It was slightly tricky as the rules had only been finalised by the league, I think the day before or something, so everyone was at a slight disadvantage not knowing what rules we were playing.
Apart from Joshua, who used the rules to his advantage, you were telling us at the weekend, Sarah.
Yeah, so Joshua, after conceding the last try, his coach said, take a short kick-off, see what comes about of it. And Joshua thought, I'm not convinced that any of the other team know the rules about short kick-offs. So he says to his team, hold back, don't pick up the ball.